reports, and we have a really exciting report tonight. From Curriculum, Instruction, and Assessment, we have the technology team here tonight to do a one-to-one computing presentation. And I have to be honest, I've been looking forward to this all week. The board has seen bits of this already. This is really exciting stuff, and I wanted to give them the opportunity to share with the community.
I think it's
Anything
great.
you'd like to add? Be my guest, Dr. Sieber.
Oh, no, I just, on your behalf and on the board's behalf, I shared with the tech team and Jeff how excited you were to have this presentation and for the community to learn more about this really exciting initiative. So with that, we're excited to hear from you all.
Great. Thank you. We were at the last board meeting and we gave a presentation. Some of you were not here, so we'd like to give you just a little summary of what happened. Just to get things caught up, we'd like to just give you a little overview of what transpired last time. We talked about the one-to-one initiative that the district has adopted, and why one-to-one? Why one-to-one computing? We get that all the time. Obviously, textbook costs are escalating. If you've been listening into what Apple has just done with their textbook online, that is the way things are headed. You're going to see a lot of textbooks going online now, and we just did some checking in on a textbook that was possibly requested for our district, and we can actually get it online for cheaper than the hard copy. So there are savings that way, so that's a big thing. Differentiated instruction improves technology skills, helps organization. Collaboration is a huge factor. Students want to be engaged and involved in their learning, and I think that is key as we move forward as well. Where we are with the one-to-one. We had a committee that was formed. We will see on one of the slides in our presentation who is actually on that committee. We drew from all different areas in the community because we felt that was really important. We have had several meetings with this committee. We had our first parent community meeting, which we thought went really, really well. And we chose our device, which is the Chromebook. And you'll be hearing more about that as our presentation goes on. We are a Google Apps for Education district. This is something that we adopted last year with the teachers and this year with the students. So we have what Google Apps for Education is actually free from Google. It includes a app suite which has mail, docs, calendar, and sites. If you go into the high school now and even in the middle schools, you are seeing our students use this and the teachers use this as well, and it's a really powerful tool. So, and that is free to the district. As far as professional development goes, we talked about that at our last meeting. The teachers at the high school received their MacBook Pro laptops. It was their time in the cycle, so instead of giving them a desktop, we gave them a laptop because we are more mobile now. Our IT guru, Jeff Rudinger, his team has wired our building so they can go anywhere and have connectivity, and we felt it's important as we collaborate and things like that to have that ability to move around the building with your computer, so that's why the laptop. We have technology teacher plans that we have put in place. Each one, it's almost like an individual plan for a teacher. It's a technology plan that we have created. Every teacher has one, and they are learning every day, and they keep adding to this plan. It's amazing just the response that we've received from the teachers. We have customized trainings 3 days a week in the mornings at 7 o'clock. Teachers can attend these trainings, and again, the outcome has been just incredible, what we've seen so far. And we've also built a Haiku professional development page, which is accessible to our staff. We have now, and you'll hear today when we tap into our friend in San Francisco, they are actually using our professional development page at Google to share with other schools around the country. So we'll talk more about that when we get there. So I guess we will continue on.
So the formation of the one-to-one committee, we wanted to make sure that we had a diverse group that represented all areas. So we have administrators, we have community members, and teachers. We have the tech team. We also extended the invitation to the board members, and Mark Giudella is representing the board, and Dr. Siebert, of course. So during these one-to-one meetings, we basically have brainstorming sessions. We explain where we are as far as the tech team in making decisions, and we've met several times since fall, and we continue to meet almost monthly. So that's where we are with the one-to-one.
Like Mike said, that we have picked the device. The Chromebook is the device that we're going to pick, and it is actually right here in my hand. And because I need to see what I'm actually talking about, I'm going to go off of here. The reason that we really love it, I love this device, is first of all, it's minimal hardware support. If you've ever had a laptop, the first thing that you always wonder is, when's the first time I'm going to have to call that dreaded tech support and be on there for about 3 hours to try and figure out what to do with this stupid thing? You don't have to do that with this. You open it up, you turn it on, and you go. Because we are a Google Apps for Education district, this device doesn't matter. If I drop this thing, which I hope I never do, but if I do drop that, I can get another one, and my documents from there are now here because it's not stored on that device. So that's the really cool thing. We don't have to worry about that anymore. This device really doesn't matter so much. You turn the device on, and it automatically updates. Anybody ever see those little things from Windows? Now updating, loading 30 or 3,000. You don't have to worry about that. You turn it on, and it goes on, and within a couple of minutes, if there is an update, it's there.
That's our gentleman in San Francisco telling us he's standing by and ready whenever we are.
Yeah. This runs the Chrome web browsing. It's actually the Chrome web browsing operating system. So the really neat thing is, it doesn't matter if I'm running on this Chromebook or if I have a device at home, the Chrome browser will work and give me the same kind of functionality. So if the student doesn't want to bring that device home that day, or they're at a friend's house and they want to do their homework, which we hope they do, they can just log into Chrome and get everything that they want. There's very little viruses on this thing. Okay, there isn't one. They haven't programmed one that can do anything to this yet. It's in what is called a siloed environment, so each little piece works on its own. So there isn't something that can actually attack this thing, which is really, really cool. Saves us money. 8 hours of life, 8 to 10 hours of life. That's huge. You know, we always looked at the devices, the netbooks, 2 to 3, 4 hours maybe. This was the first device that really gave us a full day of educational value. 8-second startup. You see I got it closed? I can open this thing up, and in 8 seconds, I'm ready to go. So right there we are. We don't have to worry about waiting on this device to start up. That is huge. And like Mike said, we're already a Google Apps for Education district, so this fits beautifully with what we're doing right now.
So we went out to San Francisco. We visited Google, and the reason we went out there is we were actually invited by Google. This relationship started a couple months ago when we contacted them, told them that we were looking at their product, and we also told them that we were the second largest school in Wisconsin, and we started this relationship, and they invited us out, and what we learned was incredible. They brought in the who's who of Google to talk to us, to talk to our team. They brought in a gentleman by the name of Rajan Sheth, who actually designed the Chromebook. Now, this person was in Florida a couple days prior doing the keynote at one of the biggest technology events. We had him in a room smaller than this, and he was talking to us and answering any questions that we had, and he doesn't do that very often, we were told. So we were pretty impressed by that. We met the IT engineers, and we actually did a session where one was in Washington, D.C., and it's called a Google Hangout, and the other one was in Texas. So we were talking to them, and they were addressing any issues that Jeff had from an IT perspective. We talked about cloud printing because that is a big thing with how are you going to print with these devices if you're using the cloud. Any questions we had were answered. Public relations and marketing, because we were really interested, how are we going to market this? How are we going to have the PR to go with this piece? We talked to the people that are in charge at Google of marketing and PR, and we are going to be one of the flagship schools in the Midwest that they want to use our district to promote other schools. And so we are on their radar heavily, and you will see in a couple seconds when we talk to Steven, who was our tour guide, and he is a guy who works in the Google Chromebook for Education team, who was just wonderful when we were there. We also talked to the person in charge of Chromebook apps, which we actually have a say on what apps our teachers need. We have like the bat phone, the line, the hot line right to this person. So if we come up with any issues, and we've had some at the high school where they said, hey, we need this app to be able to function in our class, we have called up Vidya, is her name, and she says, we will get that to work. We will just give us a little time. And so we have a direct line. So we are actually manipulating and helping the program because they have taken an interest in our district, which we think Google, Fond du Lac School District, and they are listening to us. That's a pretty cool relationship. So what we're going to do now is we're actually going to talk to Steven. We're going to bring him into a hangout. And Steven is at the Googleplex in San Francisco, and he's just going to explain to you a little bit about our relationship and what he saw from our team when we took a visit.
What does that say, Mark? It says, check your hair and make sure your mic works.
Very nice.
We know he's there. He already IM'd us once and said he was waiting.
Did you hit it when the pressure's on?
Don't sweat it. This is the way computers work for me all the time.
We do have an unhappy robot up there, so you can see that we're all by ourselves.
We're chatting.
Normally this works much, much easier. It just happens to be that the pressure's on.
Well, when you have a room full of people, nothing ever goes quite the way you want it to.
Exactly. Like somebody's there now?
While Mike is trying to get us hooked up here, I'll talk a little bit about our next slide. On February 1st, it was Digital Literacy Day, and we had our first community meeting. It was our first meeting with parents and community members. It was basically an information session to let them know where we're at. We still have a lot of questions that need answering, and we knew that going into the parent meeting. But we wanted them to keep informed because we knew the teachers knew about this, we knew the students knew about this, and we wanted to make sure that we got all rumors taken care of and that we were upfront with them on the device that we had chosen, and basically the same information we've shared with you tonight. So our attendance was about 140, which we were quite pleased with. We didn't know how many to expect, but we had about 140. Mostly parents show up. The questions that were asked were questions that we expected. We actually came up with a parent FAQ sheet prior to it. So most of the questions were addressed. We got some wonderful feedback. Many parents were very excited. Again, some questions and concerns which we still have to answer. The fee structure and the pricing and things like that, we didn't have answers for, but we hope to by our next meeting. And the next meeting is set for March 28th at 6:30 at the Goodrich Little Theater. So you're welcome to attend that community meeting.
Did you get any questions from parents that you hadn't heard before? That kind of surprised you?
I don't think so. Most of the stuff we kind of knew. Some of them we couldn't answer, and we had to be honest with them. We're aware of that situation. We're not sure how it's going to be addressed yet. Those are things that, but we wanted to be open. We wanted to make sure that they had a say, in those things. We actually had exit cards for people to fill out and hand to us before they left, just in case we weren't able to answer their questions. And we only received 3, and they were very simple stuff that we already could address. So again, we were very pleased. We had very positive remarks from most of the parents that showed up.
Can you hear us, Steven?
I can. Can you hear me?
I can.
So we just introduced you as our Google friend, and I guess we just want you to talk to our board members and just explain to them, what our experience was when we came out to Google, what you saw.
Certainly. It's nice to meet everyone. Hopefully you can hear me all right. I see some nods, some smiles. Good. We were super excited to host some of your colleagues out at Google a few weeks ago. It was great from multiple perspectives. One, to hear more about all the great work you guys are doing. In fact, I was speaking with another district this morning, and I pointed back to some of the professional development materials actually you guys had created. So I'm spreading the word nationwide about Fond du Lac and all the great things you're producing, and I hope you don't mind. But also, from our perspective, it was great to hear more about how you're using the product, and there were some great suggestions that came from your teams around not only how we can improve the devices, but what also is working well and small tweaks that we can make pretty quickly. So it was very productive on both ends. I think they learned a lot, hopefully, about the vision and some strategic road mapping and some confidential information they're able to release to partners like you, and then for us to get some real-time feedback. So we're very excited. A lot of people are watching this internally at Google to hear about how you guys are implementing.
Very good. Do you have any questions at all for Steven, board members?
How many other districts do you have involved with this type of activity?
So we're fairly young in terms of not only as a company, only 13 years old, but in terms of this project, Chromebooks have been on the market since last summer, and now we're really starting to see our big deployments, one of which is Fond du Lac. We've announced a few other big districts, notably Richland 2. They're purchasing around 18,000 devices down in South Carolina. Council Bluffs purchasing around 4,000 devices total, and Leiden out of Chicago. But we're looking forward to Fond du Lac is certainly up there, and I think it's exciting because as we enter into this, we really develop close relationships with people who are doing this early, and they also affect our product a lot. So it's exciting to really work closely with all of you.
Thank you.
Well, I'll tell you what, from my perspective, getting just a first glimpse at the Google Chromebook, very impressive. It's a little confusing without an operating system because you're just so ingrained in the operating system, but I can see where this will be just fantastic for the educational application. So I don't really have a question, just a comment that it's an impressive piece.
That's great to hear, and we like to hear that you guys have been testing them out as well. And sometimes it's confusing just because they're so simple. You log in, you see the web browser, you think what's going on, and then you use it for a few minutes, and hopefully it makes sense.
Yeah, interesting stuff, and for our community, because this is going out throughout the entire community. I'm not claiming we're heavily watched, but it is being brought. It is going out. Can you tell us exactly where you're located, just so they know?
Certainly, we're at our headquarters in Mountain View, California. I actually grew up in the Midwest, but relocated out here, and we like to stay close to the engineers. We continually push them and prod them for new features. And that's when your team came out. They met with actually our head of product management for Chromebooks, who used to be the head of Google Apps. So pretty well-known individual at Google, and it was great to sync them up with all of your teammates so that you get direct feedback from all of you.
Outstanding. Does anyone have anything else?
No, we're just really proud of our tech team and what they've been doing here. They're just ahead of the game in all areas, and it's really great, all the work and energy that they've put into it.
Well, you took away one of my questions for you. And my first question when we talk about computer systems is, tell me about the tech support, because they always fail. I can't tell you how much time I spend on the phone with Bureau of Technology Management. So I'm thrilled to hear what I just heard earlier before you came on.
Great. We're glad to hear that too, and I've told Jeff and Mike and the whole team, feel free to reach out to me. You've got my contact information, and we are looking forward to really working closely with your district, and they've been well networked with everyone at Google, so they don't only have my contact information, they have everyone, so if anything goes wrong, we're here for you.
Well, I can tell you just from my own perspective, and I think the board feels like I do, we're very excited to be moving ahead with
Yes.
one-to-one computing at our high school. And thank you for partnering up with us. I think it's a great opportunity.
You're welcome. Thank you for being supportive. It's great to see districts like yourself and all the great and interesting things you guys are doing. So congratulations to you as well.
All right.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thanks, Steven.
Steven.
We'll be in touch.
Take care.
All right.
Nice to meet you.
All right, bye-bye.
Well, I know one thing, the ones who have the least amount of trouble with this is the kids.
Yeah.
That's for sure.
But I think it's good, because like I said the last time, if they don't have it, as soon as they're out of school, they're gonna have to start dealing with it, because when they go on to school, that's the only way you can operate or do your papers or check anything, so.
Can you tell us what they've been doing at the alternate high school the last couple of weeks?
Yeah,
How is that going? Okay.
So you run our mind.
Okay.
Can I ask if you're also going to touch on the discussion we had at the meeting about Microsoft Office versus what we might be dealing with here?
Yeah, we can do that. Remind me when we get to the end, and we can do that too, Mark. All right, so you can see the Fondy Central pilot. We took the Chromebooks over there. Was it about a month ago now? And once we walked them in the building, the kids took to them like ducks to the pond or ducks to the water, and we gave them a little bit of training. I don't know. I think we might have mentioned this last time, but we also trained some fifth graders, fourth and fifth graders, and it took them 45 minutes to become docs and email ninjas. So the kids get this real quickly out of the box. We've got some student feedback. We've got a little video that Renee put together for us to show you what some of those students have to say about their experience so far. We've learned that we were doing mostly everything right, and we just learned where to laser beam focus a little bit. So we said, okay, in terms of the app suite, let's make sure these are the pieces that we're hitting the hardest. These are the pieces that will come and follow up those, and then this is the pieces that will supplement and help us take it to the next level on this end. So it really gave us some good strategic vision and a roadmap. Google uses that word all the time, the roadmap, strategic roadmap, and I'm just using whatever they do because they're Google. And then so where do we go from here? We have a pilot at FHS that's going to be starting up. The actual Chromebooks that we're using for that pilot arrived today. They are sitting somewhere in this building, location not to be determined. And then we're going to get them over there, fire them up. And we have a deployment schedule where we're going to have them on carts. Teachers are going to be able to check them out. We have different parameters. They're going to put in forms with us so that we can get feedback from them. We're going to get feedback from the students, what went well, what didn't go well. And so we're pretty excited about that as well. So we got a lot of things happening. And I'll show you this video here next.
Dan, before you start that,
Oh, yeah.
Mrs. Nagel, you'll be happy to know I have not had to go over there and help them with tech support at all.
Jeff, I know that you're happy to tell me that.
Yes, I am.
We shot some of these videos during class time, so there's some background noise.
I think it's great. I don't know, I don't have a calculator or anything, so I use an app, scientific calculator app, to do all my math. And I don't know, it just makes my work a lot easier.
It's easier to do assignments, like you can get them done faster. Okay. And like you can do them at home too, because we usually can't bring our books home or anything. I put a dictionary one on there and it like goes in the corner, so if I'm on the internet and I don't know a word, like I can click on it in the corner and this little thing drops down and I can type in like the word and then a definition thing. This little box pops up and it tells me what it is.
Wait. Stay organized. Like the Google Docs, like I have them organized like between like English and like the student showed us how to do it. And that helps me a lot. We make a folder for each. Yeah, we have a folder for each class, and then we put all our assignments in each.
Well, normally I wouldn't like turn in my homework, like get off until like the end of the day, or I would just forget. And when I'm just done with it, I can just turn it in right away, you know? Like instead of, if I'm not even in that class, I can still turn it in. Makes it fun. Yeah.
Makes learning fun.
Makes a lot of like everything a lot easier and like just more organized.
Knowledge at their hands and their fingertips, and the one thing I'm really concentrating on with them is being aware of where they're at in each class, both knowledge-wise and work-wise. So now it's my hope that I never have to answer the question, where do I stand in this class, or what do I need to do, or how many objectives I have, because that's what I do in this class. I created a document on a spreadsheet, real simplistic, that I shared with all the kids, called the objective totals, and it tells them exactly where they're at in my math class. And there should never be a doubt or a question, or they should always know, and it's very beneficial for them to know where they're at in certain classes.
So I think you can see there, and especially like the last piece about almost all of this comes back to level of engagement has risen. People want to do work. It seems, I like that part too, it seems easier, as if almost, wow, like my homework isn't hard because it's on a computer. And for these kids, we're talking about fundamental differences in this generation about the way they approach information and gather information, and it's actually a lot of brain-based research that shows that. And so we're meeting them where they are, and we're teaching them just in time instead of just in case. And as we get that message out, I think our teachers are really going to understand and embrace this, and it's going to shift the culture of our entire district into a place where we're going to have really engaged, deep understanding of material that we already are getting to right now, but I think it'll take us there quicker.
I have another question that is sort of related. About what % of textbooks do you expect to be available
Online?
Yeah.
That depends on what your time frame is. I truly believe that all textbooks are going to end up being online.
Right.
But
I
right
mean,
now,
like, say
I
next
can't
year,
tell you
or-
that there's 10% or 15%.
Okay.
But I would, very soon, all textbooks I would believe are going to be
Right.
online.
I'm just wondering, like, next year, we'll still be using regular textbooks?
I would think to a certain extent, yeah, and where we could go, I mean, we're finally crossing, Mr. Whitsock could speak to this, we're finally crossing what Mike was talking about earlier, the point where the electronic textbook is more affordable than the paper version.
Right.
But how fast that continues to evolve, I think, is what we have to figure out. But
There's, in the past, the marketing model that the companies were using is that if we bought the paper book, we would then get a free access to an online version of it. But if we wanted just the online version, that was $20 a copy more than the paper, which made no sense at all. That whole process is kind of reversed. There's Apple came out with a system just a couple weeks ago that provides a license on a textbook copy at $15 per copy, but the caveat on it is that's $15 per year, which means when we extend that over a 6-year span, it's basically the same price we're paying now, but then we have to have an iPad to go with it. So that's not the perfect model for us. But it does, I think, demonstrate that the industry's changing, that they are moving to a different model. I've been talking to a number of the companies, and most of them are starting to come in with some pricing structures that are a whole lot more attractive. I think the other thing that we're going to see happening is that it's really a change in the entire textbook industry. If you go back 20 years, there were about 15, 16 major textbook companies, but they went through a major consolidation over the last decade to the point now there's really three textbook companies that exist, or mainline publishers. And then there's a second tier of some textbook companies that are single copy, single edition type things. But for the most part, it's out of those three. But what's happening with the electronic portion of this is we're starting to see the emergence of some other companies that are coming out with text materials. As an example, I'm going to be meeting with some people at Discovery Education here in the next week. In fact, it's a week from today. I'll be meeting with them, and they have a model now where they have a textbook that's a 6-year license for $40. And even more attractive than that, it's a single textbook for one for K5, one for 6-8, one for 9-12. So a kid would only have three textbooks in the course of 12 years of school for science. Now that's the only one that's available right now. They're working on social studies. It's a very long answer to your question. I don't think we're going to see a total migration away from paper textbooks this year or next year. In fact, I'll be bringing a paper book for adoption here within the next month or so. Hopefully one of the last ones. But I would say within 2 to 3 years, we're going to see a very, very large percentage of the books going electronic in some form.
Thank you.
One other thing, just to back on that, is that you also have to start to look down the line in a place where textbooks aren't needed. That eventually all the information in the world is at your fingertips when you log into a Chromebook right now. So really what textbook comes down to is somebody somewhere else, and usually it's experts, but they get together and they filter the information and put it in order however they see fit. So at some point, you know, like with the iAuthor tool that John referenced out from Apple, that's so any teacher, anybody, you guys could all, any of you could write your own textbook tomorrow and publish it in ways that you would never have imagined. And that's we're in 2012, so who knows what's going to be by 2013.
The other value I see to this is updated information quickly being in the hands of our students versus what we deal with now. Some of those textbooks are very antiquated. And you're right, you can find it on the web.
When I went to the school board convention, I had the opportunity to sit in on the Google information session set up by CISA. And we truly, our district is breaking ground. And then I cannot remember the keynote speaker's name. He was
I can't either.
amazing.
He was really good, yeah.
But it was all about technology and how our children are learning so much on the internet. And that really, I mean, this frightens me, frightens a lot of people, but his push was get your kids to be educated on the internet and explore so many different websites. So really, truly, this, thank you to all of you, what you're doing. This is definitely where the road is going, and Fond du Lac is breaking new ground. We are definitely being proactive with this. It's great.
Well, and I'll tell you what, just watching that video brings back to me, this is a new day in teaching.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, this is not what teachers went to school for 5 years ago or 2 years ago. So I can see the value in you guys going out and creating a plan for every one of our educators, just because this is a new day. This is incredible stuff. Absolutely, it's great stuff.
And speaking of where we're going to go, the next slide actually tells you exactly what we plan on doing. It pretty much lays out when we're going to order these, when we're planning on receiving them, that we're still going to have parent meetings in August, because there's a lot of things that we need to work out yet. We'll be honest with you, there's a lot of things that we need to work out yet. And then our goal is obviously to hand them out to students, and we're hoping, and this is still up for discussion, but we're hoping that we actually can get them in their hands before they show up for that first day, if that is a possibility. Again, we have to work those things out yet, but that's really where we're going to go, or where we want to go. So this is kind of our layout, and the reason that we're going to order them so early is because Google's actually going to configure. There's a little, it takes about 10 minutes that you have to configure these. They're going to do that for us. So when we get them out of the box, we'll be able to hand them out, which is very exciting for us because it'll save us, you know, having to touch all these devices.
And you.
Yeah, and us, yes, it'll save us. So that's where we're going to plan on our roadmap.
And with that, if there's any other questions, and we've already reached some of them, or
Some of the talks about the privacy issue.
For the country and all over the world. A particular document, they even told us if you got a hold of one of their servers that document's on, the document isn't all on one server. It's on multiple servers, encrypted, so even if you got your hands on a physical server, you wouldn't be able to make anything out of there. What Google does with that, you know, they're highly invested in the K-12 environment. They're not going to take that data and mine it so that it then gives them a bad name. We're very comfortable with what they're going to do with it, with the data that we have stored there, and I'm not worried about that in the least bit with them.
The shared documenting, they showed at the convention how a group of kids, one child was writing a speech for class president, and how a group of his friends, he shared the doc, and people participated. And it was amazing to see this happen right before your eyes. My own kids, sophomore and junior at Fondy High, are utilizing Gmail and Google Docs multiple times a week, just communicating with their teachers, fellow classmates, and then writing papers. So it's really great. Thank you again.
Here's your chance.
Yeah, all right. So the Microsoft, there is one caveat. So we talked about the moving into the new paradigm and learning how to kind of teach in a whole new way. What we did as a district as we moved through Google Apps is we removed the Microsoft world from their subset of skills that they had in front of them, which has caused us a little bit of consternation. So we're walking our teachers through that process, because when you've taught for 20 years and you have ungodly amounts of documents made in Microsoft Word, and then when you're very much particular about your formatting of those documents, and they don't translate exactly the same when you convert them into a Google Doc, it causes some consternation. So we're working on that in order to bring that to full speed. But we have been applauded in circles of the ed tech community for saying, look, we're walking away from products that don't allow our kids to, exactly what Julie was just talking about, to be able to instantly share and to collaborate and to create massively, crowdsource anything. And you couldn't do that with what we had before. So.
And also, wasn't part of the discussion, Microsoft Office has a cost that some of these corresponding Google items don't?
Yeah, I mean, Microsoft product, I don't know what the total was, Jeff. It's probably pretty.
It's $56 per computer.
Yeah,
So
and we don't.
multiply that out by the amount of computers we have, it's a lot of money.
We don't have to pay that anymore. And just to make sure everybody is aware, this Google Apps for Education is a free product. They give that to school districts because they're not looking to make a massive amount of money on us.
Well, I can't thank you enough for coming in. Like I
Thank
said,
you.
this is so exciting to me, and I know the board feels as I do. We're really looking forward to getting this moving, and I'm so happy you guys are doing it. And when Jim came to us and said, well, I've got this, we're going to put this tech team together, I'm thinking, what are we doing that for? And then he said, oh, you just trust me on this. I said, all right, I will. But no, you guys, great work. Awesome job.
I have
Really-
one last question I have to ask in light of the parent that came to talk to us maybe 3 meetings ago. Was concerned because her child was doing continuous texting while in school. Basically, by giving these books, what we're doing is saying, leave your phones home, you can just use this device. Did any of the parents raise a concern like that when you talked with them?
One parent asked about Facebook, but in terms of like worried that people are going to go on to chatting and texting and all that, no, we didn't really hear.
I actually wish that Dawn Coons was here. She's a teacher over at Fondy Central. She actually handled a lot of that question for us. She has had 0 issues, major issues. She's had a couple minor things, and she's dealt with them at that time, but nothing major, which is very exciting for us.
Which I would expect, and I just wanted to respect that parent's viewpoint about their concerns with the kids. And she was concerned it was the other kids as well as her own, so.
Right, and there will be some classroom management, growing pains as we'll call them, but we'll get through those.
And the same types of filters will be on them, right, as they are on the computers now, right?
Correct, when they're in the district, yes, they will be filtered just like everything else.
Okay. Well, thank you.
Very nice
Thank you,
presentation.
again.
Thank you so much. Thanks.